Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for all of your great responses to last week's video. I'm excited that you had as much fun, or you enjoyed my conversation with Collin as much as I did. And so I want to bring you into part 2 of our conversations because, like I said, after I interviewed for his podcast, he was nice enough to spend an entire afternoon filming content with me. So I'm excited to share that with you. But before I do, let me ask you this. How do you handle uncertainty? Uncertainty freaks people out, freaks them out. People can't handle it at all. It's like one of the biggest fears in people's lives. But as Tony Robbins teaches us, it's also one of the core needs that we have in order to survive, in order to grow, in order to evolve, in order to challenge us and push us past a comfort zone. Because a lot of people are uncomfortable with uncertainty. So that's obviously not their comfort zone. So today in the clip with Collin, and for those of you who don't know Collin or didn't watch the video last week, Collin runs this amazing podcast called Zion 2.0. And essentially he covers these topics of human development, why we are the way that we are, why we operate the way that we do, but also in the context of how we can all contribute to a better future for our society. So he asks really deep questions, has great conversations. I was lucky enough to be on it. And so then today, Collin and I talk quite a bit about how to deal with uncertainty. Collin and I are entrepreneurs, and at the moment we're solopreneurs. We're doing our brands, we're running our brands all on our own. And so there's a lot of uncertainty in entrepreneurship all the time. And so we will talk about it in the context of entrepreneurship, but the way that we also talk about it can be applied to anybody in any walk of life facing any kind of uncertainty. So we won't stop there. We'll talk about a few other things, including trust and social media and feeling stuck and how to break through certain obstacles. So we're going to talk about a good deal of stuff, but uncertainty is the main thing that I want to make sure that you focus on when you're listening to this new clip. So I hope you enjoy, and I will talk to you again soon.
So there's some overlap between our projects in the sense that we're both entrepreneurs. We're both trying to build something, and it's the idea of building something from nothing. It's also the idea of having no guarantee that there will be fruits from your labor. So in a certain sense, like you have to have goals because you need to be able to sort of have a map of where you're going. Mm-hmm. But you also need to have the ability to release yourself from the attachment that it will be the thing that you think it's going to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is new. This is new for me. I mean, I launched this podcast in November. I threw a launch party for it last month. Mm-hmm. So this is like, there's still so much for me to learn and sort of grapple with how to grow this project. And I'm curious about how you have handled that uncertainty, how you sit with uncertainty generally. I mean, like as it relates to your business, but also just like we all have to learn how to sit with uncertainty.
Right. Yeah. There are lots of answers to that. I mean, you and I could and should do a whole video on uncertainty on its own. But I don't know, with mine, I mean, you're talking about several things. You're talking about uncertainty in general, like how we as humans deal with uncertainty. You're also talking about how we deal with the uncertainty as you have started a business and as it's starting to go, and like grappling it with it as it goes. But you're also talking about, what you brought up first was the kind of like the process of learning and iterating and like figuring out how to evolve, basically, when you're starting something from scratch. And that's definitely the biggest thing for me, because I knew that I wanted to start a business as early as like the end of high school. But I had no idea what I wanted to do. Even in college, I wasn't even thinking about anything entrepreneurial. And my college had entrepreneurial programs. Like I could have fully like actualized it there if I wanted to. But even then, like a friend of mine helped me come up with an idea back then. It's not what I'm doing now, but then I worked in the industry for however many years and started my business 4 years ago. When it really got to this point, it was kind of like this breaking point for me. And not breaking point like negative or unhealthy or harmful, but for me, I was like so sick of certain things that I was facing in the mental health field, just the institution of mental health. And there was something that I had been developing myself for a while, on my creative side of things, that I was like, there's something there. And I just had not yet taken the step. And then I did have the opportunity to. The timing worked out really well, and I had the support of someone who had started her own business as well. And it was just the right moment for me to take on the experiment mindset. So that's the biggest thing I'll say as an answer to your question. As an entrepreneur in particular, but this is also helpful if anybody in any industry anywhere, is to continue to keep the experimentation mindset. You're always experimenting. And what you and I were just talking about in a previous video was the fact that you can become an expert in a topic, but you're never done. So even as an expert, even if you are the renowned expert in podcasts, for instance, there's always more that you're going to have to learn how to do. Otherwise, someone's going to surpass you, right? And so for me, like we were talking about in that podcast, or in that video also, if I don't continue to be able to learn more and provide more for my clients, at a certain point, my business will only be as valuable as, X. And so it'll only grow as far as that, right? So now I'm kind of rambling, but I think the biggest piece that answers your original question about how to deal with just the growth and the problem solving is just to have the mindset of that you will always be problem solving. You'll always have to. And for me, it's always been an experiment I've loved, which has allowed my business to change in all the ways that it has.
Yeah, if you come up with a stack of skills that you're able to market and sell, so if you have a couple different coaching strategies that test well, that work with, and you receive good feedback from clients,
right,
and you're able to just get a steady stream of clients coming in, like what's the impulse or what's the motivation even for wanting to add more to the stack? Like if you have it figured out and you have a good thing, like why are you going to try and change it?
Yeah, well, so there is the cliche line that's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. But in the entrepreneurial case, the perspective to always keep in mind is that even if you have a paying client, even if you have someone who, like if you have a program, like if you're doing a whole podcast consulting program and they've bought this whole package of sessions with you, like a big workshop session or something like that, even if they pay you, they might just quit the program at any point. So even if they've paid you, it's like, great, you got money. That means you have a business, you have a client, and you have some kind of product or a service that's working well, and you're kind of like coasting a little bit. All of your clients could leave for whatever reasons, legitimate ones or mean ones, where they're just like really rude and just like drop off. But regardless of the reason for them leaving, it could happen anytime. There's no certainty in that, except for if you continue to provide value or new interactions with them. Even if it's just like, something I do with my clients is that I actually enjoy is sending them related like blog posts or like a random video I found on YouTube that relates to a conversation I had with my client. I'll just email it to them, kind of thing. So it's less of like a formal thing, but I'm still adding value to their experience without it trying to be a sales tactic to try to be like, don't leave. Don't leave. It's like a genuine like fun aspect of it that's not just relying on my original product or my only product.
Right. yeah, I got this coach and he's great, but he's just a little clingy, a little desperate.
Yeah, exactly.
He like grabbed my shoulder. Cool, yeah, that'll make sense.
Yeah.